Okay, in this short video, I'm going to give you a list of the only stuff that you should be focusing on if you want to scale your business in 2024. Because as we all know, when you are busy running a business or an agency, it is incredibly difficult to make sure that you're working on the right stuff every day because there are unlimited opportunities to execute on. There's a million different tasks you should be doing. Everyone's saying, do this, do that. Your best friend's scaling TikTok ads, your other mates on Facebook ads, someone saying you need to do this cold outreach strategy, and XYZ and ABC. There's literally a million things that people tell you to do, and there's just a lot of noise. So what typically happens is that people end up feeling a little bit like this. So they sort of get in this mindset where they're just going in every single direction. And if I was going to pull up a diagram, which if you watch the channel a lot, you know I love to do, what ends up happening is you go in this direction, 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 and then you end up just going like this. That's a really good way to get nowhere. What you really want to do is go something like this. You want to go up over time. But if you're constantly going like this and then looping around and looping around and looping around and never knowing what to focus on, you're just screwed from the get-go. So what I'm going to do in this video is just clarify all of this BS that's going on and just tell you, if you want to grow your agency, just do this. It's going to be a very simple video, very, very short. Just do this. So number one is going to be learn these 6 skills. Number one skill is the ability to effortlessly make graphics and illustrations that can help you convey more complex concepts. So if you know my friend Matt Larson, he makes a million of these. If you know anyone by the name of Alex Hormozy, if you know Russell Brunson, if you know the guys that have been absolutely dominating the internet space over the last decade, it is the people that can make complex concepts sound very, very simple. And the way that they do that is using graphics and illustrations. If you think about the best teachers alive and the best communicators alive, a lot of the time they actually use these graphics to help them to communicate. It's not just the written word or the speech that they have. It is the ability to use graphics to actually support different arguments, just like I've done here. You don't always have to get too smart about it. I've used the spider web. I've used different things like this guy stepping on rocks. You don't have to get too political about it. You can just use them to support different arguments. It's very important that you know how to do that. People scoff at this. People scoff at the thing that you need, at the idea that you need to know how to make graphics, but it's crazy because what it unlocks is this ability for people to understand you, whether that's a team member, whether that's a client, whether that's a prospect, whether that's you're making a video and you want to get a point across. It is very important that people are able to understand you easily because people aren't really in that phase of focus when they're consuming a video. People are spread thin. People are not paying that much attention. So being able to sort of reduce the intensity of your content by using something that makes your content more like a children's book than an essay is absolutely huge, because everyone knows viewer satisfaction and making your viewers and clients and prospects and team members making their life easier when they're communicating with you rather than harder is an absolutely massive thing to be able to communicate. The next 2 are writing in a way that is readable. As you know, so much of communication right now is written, whether that be a blog post, a tweet, a Slack message, whatever it is, a lead magnet, an article, a document. All of this stuff is so important because if no one's reading your stuff, how are you ever going to be able to sell? How are you ever going to make ads that actually convert? How are you going to write outreach messages that actually convert? It is so key that you can write in a way that is readable. And the sort of subcategory of this is it's going to allow you to make lead magnets, webinars, and newsletters that are too good to fail. So like I mentioned before, if you know my friend Matthew Larson, where is he? He's over here. This guy right here, he is not making YouTube videos that are Mr. Beast level of production. He's just making stuff that is so good that it is impossible that it fails. It is impossible that this content fails because it is so good. So instead of focusing on things like thumbnails and presentations and fancy things and optimizing all of this stuff that doesn't matter, just focus on making things that are so good. And when I say things, I specifically mean lead magnets, webinars, and newsletters. Basically leverage content that is too good to fail, because that is going to be the thing that unlocks growth for you. Then you want to have the ability to speak well on video. I don't know if I can talk about this. You can be the judge of whether I speak well on video or not. But as you can imagine, all of these things are kind of connected. They're about communicating. They're about persuasion. They're about making logical arguments and logical cases for different things. So if you can do all of these things, it's going to unlock the ability to get people to listen to you and to get people to buy into your beliefs. Because as soon as you can get people to buy into your beliefs, you can essentially sell anything. If you can sell anything, all of a sudden your business is going to look a little bit better than the alternative when you can't sell, you couldn't even sell water in a desert. If that's the case, then you probably need to work on this stuff. The next thing is the ability to plan out the most important thing you will do every day. Because I guarantee you, if you're in this phase of your career as a business owner, it's likely that you're working on the wrong thing. If you're not growing month on month on month and things are not working, it is likely that this is the thing that you are getting wrong. Because let me tell you, after working with people that are absolutely the creme de la creme, I'm not even going to talk about myself when I talk about creme de la creme. Just forget that. That's not what I'm talking about. After working with people that are the creme de la creme, like Matt, like founders that have been funded over 8 figures in software, founders that scale, 100K a month in 6 months, this sort of thing. The things that they are doing is nothing different to what you or I would do when we were just learning. It's absolutely zero difference. And learning that has been the one thing that has enabled me to actually grow at a pretty decent rate and actually do the things that I sort of feel like are the right thing, and then having those things that I do leading to growth. Because everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. It's kind of one of those common things that people say, but if you really conceptualize the fact that someone like Alex Hormozy or any of these gurus that you look up to, none of them do different stuff, or none of them have crazy stuff that they do. They just do the right thing. They just continually make the next right move. If you think about it like a chess match, the only thing that you can do is make the next right move. If you're completely up against the wall in a chess match, the only thing you can do, make the next right move, see what you can do from there. So knowing that you're doing the right thing is absolutely huge. So you want to run things like an audit on what you're doing, audit your time, audit where your leverage is. Try and find the move that is going to give you the biggest return rather than just doing tasks mindlessly. You can do things like a weekly review as well. Where did all my time go this week? Did I get an ROI on my time this week? What was the hourly pay of the tasks that I was doing? For example, if you spend all your time doing tasks that would pay $50 an hour, but you want to make $1,000 an hour, you're absolutely screwed. So just keep that in mind. Next thing, the ability to use a CRM. So the reason you need to know how to use a CRM is because getting leads is kind of like this. This is what it's like when you're getting leads. If you have all of your prospects just swimming over here and fishing away, you're absolutely screwed. You need some type of net that can work to catch these leads as they come through. Because if you are going to build a big juicy funnel like this one over here, you can imagine how many leads are going to come through. It's like the rain's pouring up here. So naturally, you're going to need some type of net that can actually catch them and attract them. Another way of looking at this is like a spider web. So the more leads you can actually catch when these guys are running around like a spider web, the CRM kind of acts as an expansion. So without a CRM, you're kind of left like this. You don't really have that much space to catch people in. And especially as such, you don't have any way to sort of indicate to yourself. A CRM is kind of like, if you ever played Call of Duty, a CRM is almost like a UAV. The UAV says to the spider, which is you, hey, there's a caterpillar over here, there's a caterpillar over here, there's a caterpillar over here. That's what a CRM does. The same way that a UAV says, hey, you've got enemies here, here, and here. You can go and get them. So you can just go bang, 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 bang. And all of a sudden, you've just closed 4 clients that you wouldn't have had otherwise, because otherwise, this guy's going to go and get them here, which is your competitor. So keep that in mind. Next thing, stuff to do every day. Number 1, send 2,000 to 5,000 cold emails every single day. What this is going to do is it is going to keep your pipeline full. If it is not working and you are sending this many cold emails, you are probably having an offer problem, in which case you need to iterate. And if you are needing to iterate, the benefit of sending this many cold emails is that you're going to be able to get statistically significant tests. So if you've ever done a science class and you're doing like a scientifically fair test, you can Google what that is if you don't know what it is. You want to be running statistically significant tests. And if it's not working, what this is going to allow you to do is test really, really quickly and get a lot of different iterations before you eventually get it right. And then when you're getting it right, you're like, oh, sweet, I'm already sending a heap of cold emails. I know what to do. Let's keep doing it. The one thing that I see people worry about when it comes to sending this many cold emails is, where am I going to get the data? To answer that question, I'll just show you where you get the data. Listkit.io. Very similar, very simple. Let me just zoom out. So listkit.io, that works. Apollo.io, that works. There you go. Two sources that you can get leads. Let me just fix this up. Beautiful. Next, make one long form YouTube video every single day. What this is going to do is this is going to nurture your prospects. So same thing as over here. Let me just pull this up again. So same thing as over here. Once you've got your leads in, so let's say you're running paid ads, you're running content, you're doing outreach, whatever it is, what's going to happen is they're going to come through and they're going to get to the point where they need to be nurtured, because people don't just buy stuff. This stuff doesn't really happen. People don't just see a piece of content and buy. They don't just see a cold email and then buy. They don't just, somehow come across you randomly and just say, this guy looks like a good dude, I'm just going to buy. What happens is they need to be nurtured. So that's in the context of this funnel. This is where you nurture prospects. And one of the best ways to do that is with long form content. So by making one YouTube video a day, not only do you nurture the prospects that you are having in the pipeline already, what's going to happen is that's also going to help you generate even more leads. So it kind of serves this double purpose. Really, really powerful. The other thing is that I believe Alex Hormozy said 78% of the prospects that booked a call with Gym Launch back in the day when they were running it up really, really fast, 78% of the prospects that booked a call had already consumed 2 or more pieces of long form content. 2 or more pieces of long form content before booking a call. So if you don't have any of this stuff up, if you don't have long form content available, that means you could be missing out on that many calls. You could be missing out on ridiculous numbers of calls. And it doesn't necessarily have to be some Mr. Beast level content. Just post high level tutorials. People are going to appreciate it. Trust me. If you post one long form video a day and it doesn't help you, DM me and I'll take care of you. Next, improve your offer that you send on cold email every single day. So here's the thing. Sometimes when you're sending cold emails, your direct offer that you make isn't going to be that attractive. So if you're asking, hey, would you like to pay me multiple thousands of dollars a month to handle a really intense task for you? A really fragile task for you, like managing your paid ad account or sending your emails to your list? No one wants that. No one wants to trust you on a cold email. They don't trust you. So what you want to do is you want to improve the offer that you send on cold email. So the ways that you can do this is use something like a lead magnet. You can do free work. You can have a sales asset, which is kind of like a lead magnet, but it might be a 60-second loom. You might help them solve a problem for them. So you might say, hey, I saw you were landing in spam. Can I help you with that? Or, hey, I saw your ad account keeps getting banned because you sell XYZ product that is really likely to get banned. Can I help you with this? Something like that. If you can find a specific problem to solve for someone, solve a problem for them. Bonus points if it is easy for you to solve. So if you know how to do something, and it's really easy and it costs you nothing to solve it for them, and you can do it at scale, just send that out to 2,000 to 5,000 people a day and it will work. Next thing is look at your KPIs daily and identify the bottleneck between you and more meetings. So what do I mean? The bottleneck between you and more meetings, let me just pull this up, is going to be one of these things. So at some stage, there's a breakdown in the funnel that's occurring that is going to prevent you from booking more meetings. And the way you can figure this out is by analyzing from click to close. So you have a cold email, you have a reply, you have a positive reply, you have a loom that gets sent out or a VSL or a lead magnet, then you have a call booked, then you have a show, then you have a sales qualified lead, so someone's been qualified, you have a second call potentially if applicable, and you have a closed client. At each level, there are conversion events that occur. So if you want to book more calls, you have to not only track all these, but actually analyze them to figure out where is the leverage. So for example, if I'm getting a 20% reply rate and I'm getting 20% being positive, that's actually pretty good stats. You're thinking, oh, that's not bad. But what if I'm only booking one call a month from 2,000 to 5,000 emails sent? You'd be thinking, oh, I've got a lot of positive replies, but I've not got a lot of calls booked. So then you're thinking, that's curious. Maybe it's my loom being not good enough, or maybe no one's watching it. So then I'm thinking, okay, how can I solve that? Because if I was going to go ahead and try and solve the positive reply rate or the reply rate, they're already really, really good. So it's going to be really hard to improve them. It's kind of like when you're running a 100-meter race. If you were trying to get that last 0.1 of a second, it would be very, very difficult to get that benefit. It's actually called something the diminishing returns. It's called diminishing returns. So once you're at a really high level with something, it's very difficult to continue to improve it. It takes a lot more work to get that last 1% of juice compared to getting the first 50% of juice. It probably takes the same amount of effort to get 10 times better at something when you're a beginner as it is to get 1% better at something when you're a complete expert. It's very hard to get that much better. So what you want to do is don't focus on this, don't focus on this, focus on this, because if you just improve this by, if you 2x the effectiveness of your loom, you're going to 2x the amount of calls you book. But if you 2x the effectiveness of your pause or reply, you're going to 2x the amount of calls you book, but it's going to be 1,000,000 times harder, right? So focus on this. Not really, but you want to look at your own stats. So track all this stuff and focus on where the breakdown is, because that is going to tell you where the most leverage is in terms of the next move. So this is actually going to be the thing that informs you on this. So these are actually very connected. So part of the reason that you feel like you don't know what you're doing is probably because you don't track enough, which is kind of a side thing. You don't track enough. So if you have tracking, it's very easy to determine. Like, for example, if you have all these numbers, it's pretty easy to see what you need to do. I'm going to call. Apologies, that was Matt, but I assume that I left off around here. So now it's time to spend some money on ads. So the reason that people don't do this is because either number one, they don't have the money, or number two, they're kind of scared of it. But I think what's really weird is that a lot of agency owners will go ahead and spend $3,000 to $5,000 a month on video editors. They'll spend $2,000 a month on a VA. They'll spend all the money in the world on random stuff, but they will not do this. They'll not put ads. They'll not put money towards their own ads because they're scared of it and they don't know if they're going to get a return. Free advice: don't have that belief. Next, what you want to do is you want to iterate your ad creatives daily towards what is working. So again, this is sort of one of those things where the more data that you get, which is the whole point of doing stuff, is to get data, and then you look at KPIs and you make your stuff better. So you make your ads better, you make your outreach better, and the last one is making your company and product better by 1% every day. That might be fixing your onboarding. That might be adding in a video, like a welcome video. That might be training your employee a bit better. That might be making an employee training to make them, upskill them. That might be buying your employee a doing 1,000,000 things. What you want to do is you want to operationalize this. So what that looks like is literally schedule like 1 hour per day to improve the product. Right now I do 2. And that's only what is scheduled. So I'll actually have 2 hours completely blocked on the product, and then it will really probably be about 4. And then the rest of the time we'll be talking to clients and talking to customers. That is, in my opinion, how you do it. This is like the agency growth prescription. This is really the company growth prescription. So if you want to just do the bare bones, only focus on this stuff, just do this. You don't need to focus on, shorts or like YouTube shorts or anything like that. Just post one long form YouTube video a day. Send top of funnel traffic via cold emails and ads, and then just scale and just do more stuff. And then all you need to do is think about doing better on ads and better outreach and better YouTube videos. That's all you're focusing. So this is doing more stuff and doing better stuff, basically. Then if this doesn't get you results, number one is improve your offer. I have a video about that on my channel. And number two, provide a front end offer that's more valuable for lower activation energy. So what do I mean by activation energy? Activation energy basically means the minimum amount of energy needed to activate or energize molecules or atoms so that they can undergo a chemical reaction or transformation. That's basically a fancy way of saying make it easier for them to get the value. It's another way of saying improve your offer. What I would highlight is that when people are saying, I want to improve my offer, what they focus on is usually this. So this is when you get people saying, I'm gonna make you $1 million in the next 3 seconds, or I'll give you my left kidney and you won't pay. That makes you sound like a dickhead. What you want to do is reduce the effort and sacrifice, because if you think about it, what is the problem? Like, why is it not working? The problem is that they don't trust you. The problem is not that they don't want the thing. So if you're not getting results on outbound and ads, the problem is pretty rarely that they don't want the thing, because it's really easy. Any idiot can make up a number and say, I'm going to give you $1 million. The issue that you're going to face, I guarantee you, is either going to be in this one, perceived likelihood of achievement. This is where it comes in, like things come in like social proof, the quality of your process and the quality of your product, and then also the effort and sacrifice, which also comes down to the product. So it also comes down to what can you do? What are your operational costs and how much value can you drive for how little effort and how little sacrifice on the prospect's part? Because that is going to do what? It's going to make it more valuable, and it's going to mean money for you, which for some people is good. Depends who you ask though. So truthfully, if you aren't getting results on outbound or ads and you're doing this much stuff, you're going to know for sure that this is a problem. So you're going to know for sure that it is your offer. So a good test for this is when you say your offer to your prospects and to your customers, do they say something like, damn, that's a good offer? Or do they sound, it sounds too good to be true? Or do they just say no, which they very well might. So if you're not at that point yet, just keep iterating. Things you can do to improve your offer. Is this. Number one, talk to customers and find out what they want. Get more social proof. Get better at articulating the processes you use, because sometimes it really isn't actually at the product level. Sometimes you're just not articulating what you do and why it works, because what you're going to need to do is convince them that your product is good. With that though, there is a caveat that you can't polish a turd. You are going to need to have an actually good product if you want to make this work. So what you want to do is just talk to customers and find out what they want, get more social proof. And again, if your product isn't working that well, spend more time on the product and get more social proof. Because it's likely that this is the constraint. If you can't do this stuff and you can't make a better offer, it's likely that your product isn't the thing. So it's likely that you're not delivering fast enough. It's likely that your systems are not in the place that they need to be in order to get your customers great results. Maybe even your mechanism just doesn't work. Like this is kind of a problem for some people. And when I say mechanism, I mean if you're trying some new crazy ad strategy or you're trying to sell some new weird strategy and people buy into it occasionally, but it just doesn't work, that can mean that your product just kind of isn't the right thing and you need to become more simple. So simple scales, complexity fails. So work on this. This is going to be number one at all times. You're also going to want to talk to customers, get more social proof, figure out exactly what they want, figure out what they're afraid of, and basically go from there. So hopefully this helps. If you want this document and you can just copy paste this stuff, comment down below or DM me on Twitter, DM me on Instagram, join the Slack group as well. That's where it's completely free. Just DM me on there. Actually, you know what? This doc will be in the Slack group. That's really easy. So that's basically all I've got for you. Cheers. Bye.